Hey guys, it's the Young Sisters, and today we're going to be reacting to Scary Animations by Llama Arts. Go check out his channel if you want to, after you finish animations. And if you're wondering why Hattie's not in the video, it's because she just doesn't want to do it, so we're just going to get into the video right now.
Early morning. My campus didn't offer housing and I lived about a half a mile from school, so I started my journey as usual while playing on my phone. I glanced up to see an old man heading towards me on a bicycle. Normally, I'd step aside to let bikers and skaters pass, but he braked instead. I stopped too, wondering if there was something wrong. He walked up to me and said, "Don't worry, I'm not gonna hurt you." I felt chills instantly. I didn't know what to think. I just looked up at him with a fearful and confused expression. I was gathering up the courage to tell him that I was late for class and I should go, but before I could say anything, he said, "Get off the grass!" Looking down, I noticed I'd stepped over towards the road and onto the grass. I stepped off slowly and he said, "You wouldn't want to step on any bugs or get your shoes dirty now, would you?" He raised his finger and asked me what my name was. I told him, and he replied, "Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you." The same chills ran through my body again, but before I could say anything, the man said, "Get off the grass! You wouldn't want to step on any bugs or get your shoes dirty now, would you?" I looked down to see that I was back on the edge of the sidewalk again. This had to be deja vu. He asked for my name once more. I said my name again, but he interrupted me before I could finish. He told me his grandchildren are down the road and needed gas money. I told him I didn't have any spare change, or any change at all for that matter. He continued to ask me again, and I gave him the same answer. Eventually, I headed towards my school. I turned to see if he was still there, but he was gone. As I was walking, I approached the intersection. There was a truck on its side. It must have tipped over while turning the corner. If you want to help support the channel, head on over to the brand new Llama Arts merch store. It has new stuff available, like update.
Okay, that was kind of creepy. It was just kind of, not scary. It was kind of scary, but it's not that scary. No, it was just creepy. It was so cute. Okay. Which one should we use? Wait, what's this one? Bus stop? Okay, click it. It's tree animation.
We're done when I say we're done.
We're done when I say.
During my holiday, I spent about 3 weeks in Japan. I arrived pretty late, so I couldn't check into the hotel that I initially booked, so I booked the cheapest hotel that I could find nearby. Aesthetically, it was quite nice, but it did have easy access to the building, meaning anyone could come in and go to any room as they please. Plus, there was no security in sight. After arriving in my room, I ordered some food and watched some TV. I was still pretty jet-lagged from the flight, so I started to get ready for bed. As I was falling asleep, I felt the urge to double-check the door just to see if it was locked. I didn't think anything was going to happen, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. About 5 minutes after I checked the door, I heard footsteps outside. Initially, I thought it was someone leaving their room, but the footsteps started to pick up speed. The sound started getting louder and louder, and I started to freak out a little. All of a sudden, the sound stopped. I looked at the light shining through the bottom of my door, and there was a shadow of a person. At first, I thought it was room service, but it was too late for that. Or maybe it was some drunk idiot who was at the wrong room. As soon as I switched my light on, the shadow disappeared. I was confused, but I reluctantly went back to bed. That's when I suddenly heard scratching coming from my door. so I immediately turned my light on and shouted, "Who's there?"
I would have called the police.
After a moment of silence, I heard the footsteps slowly fade away. At this point, I was thinking it could be some kids messing around, so I got up, opened the door, and peeked my head outside. I glanced in both directions down the dark and slim hallways. That's when my heart stopped. A man emerged from the darkness and ran erratically towards me. His face was contorted as he screamed, and I could see he was holding a knife in his right hand. As he got closer, I could see him more clearly. He had disgusting long, dirty hair, his clothes were ripped, and he had cuts and bruises all over. I quickly slammed my door and pressed against it, praying that the man would just go away. After what felt like hours, I finally gathered my courage and looked through the peephole. He was gone. I let out a sigh of relief and checked the peephole again. My heart started pumping faster than ever before. He was right in front of the door. He was wearing a maniacal smile on his face, and all of a sudden he raised his knife and yelled, "I'm gonna f***ing kill you!" I jumped back and kept my eyes locked on the bottom of the door as I backed up to my bed. I grabbed my phone and started dialing the police. As I raised the phone to my ear, I saw that the shadow was gone. When the police arrived, I tried to explain what happened, and they checked the security cameras. They almost immediately recognized the man. He had been doing this to people for a while now, and the police had been trying to track him down for months. After a long night of no sleep, I finally arrived at the right hotel that I had booked initially in Tokyo. That creepy guy was still on my mind, but I thought the chances of him being here were pretty slim, so I didn't bother locking my door that night.
What?
At 12:05 a.m., I woke up to a big bang next to me. I turned around.
That's stupid. Wait. Kids, lock your doors. Kids, when you're at the hotel, lock your doors. It doesn't matter where you are, just lock your doors. More of the story, lock your doors. Keep playing.
Around to see the same guy pass down on the floor with a knife in hand. I was in shock. How did he find me? I quickly ran out of the room and locked him inside.
Better.
The cops came and he was finally arrested. Let's just say I'm always going to be locking my doors from now on.
Why didn't he lock it before? It makes no sense. What about this one? This one. This one! No. This one. I've got mine. Okay, the last one we're gonna do. Scary stories. Llama eye. As we finally found the one that we want, it's called Bus Stop Horror Story. So let's just get into it. And we're all alone in the living room, so it's gonna be scary. It's gonna be extra scary.
This happened when I was 17 years old. I would go to the gym 3 to 4 times a week and ride the bus home. It was a Sunday and I had just missed my bus, so I had to wait longer for another one. I would have called my parents, but they were out for the evening, and taxis charged more, so I decided to sit and wait in the bus shelter. It was a cold night and snow had just started peppering the ground. My bus was taking longer than usual, so I got my phone out and listened to some music. Almost an hour had passed. It was freezing and I hadn't seen anyone at all. That was until I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. It was a creepy guy dressed in thick layers of clothing, walking slowly towards me. I knew staring at him would draw more attention, so I just focused on my phone. He sat down at the other end of the shelter and just stared at me. There was something off about him. He seemed like he was either drunk or on drugs. He then asked,
What does the boss do?
I took out my earphones and said, I think it's delayed because of the snow. He stared at me for a while, then started mumbling to himself. He was really starting to creep me out, so I pretended to be on my phone. After a couple of minutes, I took another look. He moved closer to me. I looked away for a second, then heard the sound of him sliding even closer. I turned to him and said, You okay there? He stared at me with glossy eyes, lifted his arm and leaned towards me. Immediately, I grabbed my bag and ran as he fell to the ground. I ran down the road, trying my hardest not to look back. I kept going until I got to the next bus stop. I turned around to check to see if he was there. He was gone, so I went to sit down. Feeling relieved, I rested my head on the back of the glass and waited for the bus. I jolted and turned around to see the same guy staring at me through the glass. What the hell is wrong with you? Then he started walking around the shelter towards me. I'm warning you, stay back! I yelled in panic as I was backing up. I wanted to run, but I left my bag in the shelter and I couldn't leave without it. Suddenly, the man leaped at me and I quickly moved out of the way. He fell to the ground face first. I froze in shock, then noticed the blood coming from his face. I tried to get a response out of him, but nothing worked. I called the police and paramedics and they arrived shortly after. I told them what had happened and they told me that the guy was on prescription drugs. They found a photo in his wallet of him and his son. The boy looked just like me, so we assumed he thought I was him. I later learned that he had lost his son in a custody battle and went off the rails. He was taken away for treatment. That was the last I saw of him. I got my driver's license shortly after and have never been on a bus since.
Okay. That was kind of scary. Yeah. Okay.
Which one are you doing?
You scared? No. Oh guys, that's improved. I don't know.
I wasn't even watching
It was good. Which one should we watch? A Creepy Christmas Time is the last one we're gonna watch, and
No!
yeah. How about Look-See?
Yeah.
Looks nice.
Guys, that's all for the video.
Yeah, that's basically it for the video. We'll see you next time. It's kind of dark in here, so.
Bye. Peace.